Delaware at the Little Creek Fire Department, and we're going to be doing a station rig on their 2 boats.
For Marine 1 Con Center. Underway, 3 souls on board for training.
Is that just current, or are those running?
It's running, but the tide's going out.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of current, a little bit of motor.
Oh, that's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
So where are we right now?
Right now we're in the Little River. It runs from the Delaware Bay, clean up into the town of Little Creek, and then gets a little smaller and kind of runs into tributaries into the city of Dover.
Okay. And how much of the water area do you guys cover from the fire station?
So, not sure the square miles of it, but we cover from the middle of the Delaware Bay, which is called the shipping channel. It's where all the large cargo ships go in.
Yeah.
Cover from there to the Delaware shore, and then just north of us is Lipsick, just south of us is Bowers. So those are our district lines. However, we pretty much cover the whole thing. When there's a water rescue in at least Kent County, Delaware, multiple units are due on it, multiple stations, because we want that redundancy. In case one boat has a problem, there'll be another boat to help them out.
Now, this is not just a rescue boat, this is a fire boat too, right?
Correct. It does have a fire pump on it, which we'll play with here in a little bit. The good thing about this is it has the capabilities to be a draft area for us.
Okay.
We don't have many hydrants in our area. We're a pretty rural area. So we can come down to the dock, fire this thing up, hook some hose to the standpipe out back, and supply a water supply for if we need to in town.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We've also, a couple years ago, in the middle of the night, we had a barge fire out in the Delaware Bay. Lightning struck a barge that was carrying scrap metal and other various things.
Yeah.
Lit the barge on fire, and we were the first ones there. This is a fire boat, but when you have a barge that's 300 foot long by 150 foot wide and about 5 stories tall of stuff on it, these little guys ain't doing anything.
Right.
We actually had to call the FDNY down for that one.
So what kind of boat is this?
It's a 27-foot Brunswick. They're made by Boston Whaler.
Okay.
It's got 2 250s on the back right now.
And obviously, you know, driving a fire truck is a unique experience too. This is another unique experience that not many people know about.
Absolutely. This is, it takes a little bit different skill set. You have to be very cautious, have your eyes wide open all the time. Boats don't have brakes, so
Right.
you got to be on top of your game. We have local watermen out here all the time. This is prime crabbing area for the state of Delaware, blue
Okay.
crabs. We actually just started the blue crab season, so there's going to be a lot more watermen out of the water. And with that comes the crab pots in the water.
Okay.
So you always have to be looking out for crab pots.
Now, are they marked with buoys, or how do you know they're there?
Small little buoys about that big.
Okay.
If you look up about our 12 o'clock right now,
Yep.
that's a crab buoy, crab pot buoy. So if you can imagine trying to find those in the middle of the night when it's pitch black out,
Right.
it's hard.
You get tangled up pretty quickly.
Oh yeah. It's not really too bad out here right now. It's a little choppy, but for the Delaware Bay, this is pretty calm.
Okay.
But when it comes to water rescues, you're usually not out on calm days. You're usually out on the crappy days.
Right, right.
So 6-foot waves isn't uncommon for us to be out here
Wow.
dealing with. So we were talking about our district. We also have a dual response with Camden County, New Jersey.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, Cumberland County, New Jersey. So there's a town just across the bay called Fortescue, and they have these houses that are built half on land and half on pilings over the water. So they can't get to the other half of the house if it's on fire. So they'll dispatch us, we'll go over there and do what we can with the other half of the house with the fireboat.
Okay. About how many crew do you bring onto a boat like this when you have a emergency?
So this one, we usually try to have 4 people on. That way, I think the max for this boat is 8. So if we were to go out for an emergency, we can pull another at least 4 people on and still be within the weight rating.
Okay. Chief, come behind us.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're going to turn back towards us and run hard, brake towards us, and brake towards the south. We'll do that.
Okay. So these oil tanks right up there,
Yeah.
those are the jet fuel for the Air Force Base.
Wow. Okay.
For Air Force Base, they bring them on a barge and pump them to those tanks. Then they ship them. There's a fuel line pipe that runs from those tanks all the way to the Air Force Base that goes through our district. Those caught fire twice back in the 70s. Actually burned the tanks.
Is there a way for me to step out on the backside?
Absolutely.
So having open water like this, how good are your radios from getting from where you need to? Obviously, you know, I'm from the fire service. We get in a building, we can barely get out. Does it travel better on water, or do you still have issues?
We still have issues, however, in Delaware, we have the 800 megahertz system, so it's pretty good. It covers pretty much the whole Delaware Bay. So the 800 megahertz system is good. The marine band gets spotty in through here.
Okay.
So our closest marine Coast Guard station would be Cape May or Pennsylvania up in Philly. Around this area kind of gets dead. Up in this area, the marine band kind of gets spotty. So you just have to kind of relay the information between boats if that's what it takes, or we call them on the phone. Cell service is actually pretty good out here most of the time.
Really? Okay.
So we'll fire up the fire pump.
So is this like an engine where you have to put it in like a PTO drive or anything like that?
So it has its own separate engine. All the controls for it are right here. So it's not run off the propulsion motors at all. It's strictly a dedicated engine for the fire pump.
Nice.
Now the thing about this that you have to get used to as an operator is wherever you push this water, it's going to push the boat.
Okay.
So usually we leave the nozzle straight,
Yeah.
and then let the operator of the boat move the boat where he needs it.
Okay. Rather than moving the nozzle.
Correct.
But you do have remote control on that nozzle, like a standard deck gun.
Yeah, so all the controls are right up here on the console. Done the fog, the straight, up and down. We can go left to right. Sometimes. But yeah, if Colin let off the throttle for a second. So we did a drill where we had this boat being the draft site hooked up to our tanker, our 3,000 gallon tanker, and hooked up to our tower ladder, and we were flowing the tower ladder at, I believe it was 100 psi, with not much help from the tanker.
Wow.
The boat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you can get them back on throttle.
So it's almost a two-man operation when you're flowing water. One taking care of the water, while your captain is going to be taking care of the boat to basically hold it in position then, right?
So it's a two-man operation to run the fire pump as well as the boat, and it's really a two-man operation to run the boat in general. As you can see, we have two different Garmin GPS systems. We have our county CAD up on that screen. So the operator of the boat really just has to worry about operating the boat, and then you have the navigator that's worried about everything else, type in coordinates, you know, finding where other boats are in the vicinity, things like that.
So we're out on the middle of the Delaware Bay right now.
That's correct.
So I want to know a little bit more about you. How did you get into this, and what's your name and your rank, all that kind of stuff?
Gotcha. My name's Steve Galvin. I've been in since 2009, so I graduated high school and came straight into this. I've been deputy chief for about 6 years and an officer, gone up the ranks from captain all the way up before that. I got into this because my best friend, he came to his house one day. We were rebuilding a car. The fire whistle went off. I go, what the heck's that?
Right.
He runs up to the firehouse, goes by in a fire truck. I said, that's pretty cool. And got me an application, started from the bottom, and now I'm the deputy chief.
That's the best way to do it.
Right.
You know, that's one of the things that we're traveling the country and we're letting people know that, you know, the people next door are the people that are the heroes next door, which is why we named the channel that. And you guys are actually doing that here in Little Creek.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate, you know, the service that you guys provide. This is definitely a unique service. Tell me a little bit about the boat that we're on currently.
So this is our 27-foot Brunswick. They're made by Boston Whaler down in Florida. It has two 250s off the back. It also has a fire pump with firefighting capabilities. We have a standpipe back here, as well as a remote control nozzle up front for fires.
So I understand that this is a fire suppression unit, but do you use this for other purposes, such as dive or rescue or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's a pretty multi-purpose vehicle. We do have the dive capabilities. We have a dive door off the side, and the state police and the Delaware Fire Service has their own divers. So if we need to, we pick them up, bring them on board, and they can do their diving operations off of the boat. We have the fire suppression capabilities. Our main bread and butter is vessels in distress, whether it be mechanical problems, run aground, or medical emergencies on board a vessel. That's our bread and butter, but we do a little bit of everything.
Okay. So are you guys also then EMTs or paramedics on board?
A lot of our members are EMTs as well. Myself and the chief, both of our assistants work at other firehouses as firefighter EMTs. If we need to, we can go to the dock and grab one of the county paramedics or one of the EMTs from the ambulance and bring them with us if that's what we need. Usually, most cases, we'll go out as the first boat in this area and head out to the patient, and then we'll have one of our other boats pick up the paramedic or the EMT and bring them out.
Okay. So it's a good collaboration between different services, whether it's the state police, local EMS, or whatever, you're all working together.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that people are always asking is, okay, if I wanted to get into the fire service and, you know, participate in these kind of things, how do they go about doing that? Do they have to have education before they get there? Can they just start to volunteer? How does that all work?
So in Delaware, you don't need any pre-education or anything. At 14 in Delaware, you can become a firefighter. You join a junior program at your local firehouse. Really just go up to your local firehouse and ask for an application, and you get voted in. They start training you.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So I also hear that you guys are in the process of, you know, doing a live-in program.
That's correct.
So if anybody's in the area and they're watching our video, how would they get a hold of you? Do you have a social media presence? Did they just come down to the firehouse and they want to join? How would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. You can go to our website, littlecreekfire.com, find us on Facebook at Little Creek Fire Company, send us a message. There's phone numbers on there too. There's our chief's numbers right on the sign out front. You can give him a call.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this. We really
No problem.
appreciate it. I would like to take a little bit more trip if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go take a look.
All right. So, to become a captain of one of our marine vessels, you have to take your national boat operators course, get your boat operator safety course, and you take your water rescue 1 and 2, offered by the Delaware State Fire School here, and they also have a water rescue boat operators course. On top of that, we do a lot of in-house training. So it's good to get your certs, but ultimately you have to get the boots on the ground and get your training at the company level to get familiar with your boats and familiar with the district itself. We do a lot of water rescue training before you're able to become a certified captain of one of the marine units. All weather, night, day, instrumentation, no instrumentation, raining, fog, you name it. You have to pretty much do every sort of scenario before we bless you and clear you on becoming a captain of one of our boats. At high tide, the middle of it's probably around 10 or 12 feet, maybe 12, 14 feet. At low time, it gets down to that 4 feet, and then at the entrance, it gets down to about nothing. So Colin's putting the shorelines on the boat, or the mooring lines on the boat. So we have the dock lines that are tied up to the dock, and all we have to do is slip them underneath the cleat, put them around, and we're good to go. So we have 3 lines on the boat at all times, prevents it from coming out away from the dock or slapping up against the dock. Then we also have a shore charge line, so the boat's always hooked up to electricity. We have flashlights, radios, our CAD system that draw power, as well as our automatic bilge pumps, so it's always connected to electricity.
Steve, thank you so much for bringing us around. This
No
was
problem.
definitely something that we've never done before. We've done an airboat in the past, but
Yep.
never got on a bay or go out into the ocean. And seeing a fireboat like this was pretty exciting to do.
Yeah, it's a unique experience. Anytime you want to come down, let us know.
Yeah, so if you guys are in the area and you want to volunteer, definitely come down to the Little Creek Fire Department, let them know what you want to do, and they'll get you started. Thank you all for watching. Once again, this was Heroes Next Door. This was the Station Rigs Boat Edition. Make sure you subscribe, hit notifications, smash those like buttons, and we'll see you again next week.